We're back on Southeast Texas Weekly. I'm Kevin Steele. We're joined by State Representative James White, Republican from Hillister, also W.L. Pate, our Beaumont City Councilman, all the way over here on the far right, and Godfrey Leggett.
This is the left.
Yes. I'm the far right. I think Pate's over here with me too.
And Godfrey Leggett, Democratic activist. Great to see all of you fellows.
Nice to be here.
These issues are important ones. We've talked about the Veterans Administration. Shinseki is still there. He's been the head for some time at the Veterans Administration. The president this week saying, I would say that on homelessness, on the 9/11 GI Bill, and working with us to reduce the backlog across the board, Eric Shinseki, did I say that right? Eric Shinseki has put his heart and soul into this thing. The president's widely supporting this secretary.
Now, he's also the one that in March of 2009 came up with the fact from the administration that since this is a volunteer service, that they ought to have to pay for their own insurance. Now, that was right in the big middle of the transition. That was what was put forward by this administration. You want to talk about respecting the veterans? When you have the audacity to say, you're a volunteer, buy your own insurance while you're protecting America. I'm not making this up.
Godfrey, at this point,
March 2009.
I don't agree with that.
You believe it's too early to dump this secretary?
Well, if you throw him out, you're going to have to put somebody else in. They're going to not know what's going on. It's going to take them 6 months to get their feet on the ground and get aware of what's going on. Why cause that?
Was this a failure, though, on behalf of veterans?
Absolutely, we've failed our veterans. This what happened there in that VA clinic and around the country, and even the challenges that the VA clinic system here in Texas puts my veterans in, whether they're from Tyler or Jasper or Polk or Hardin, is absolutely unconscionable. This doesn't look very good on the administration. Doesn't look very good of us on.
But James, you and I were talking before the show started. The conditions in this area are a lot different than a lot of other areas of the country. I've talked to a lot of veterans here, and they're not terribly unhappy with the situation they have.
Well,
it
we
from locality to
I
locality.
understand it, but we send young men and young women to war, and we make a commitment to them. This is just the whole thing about this entire country. I mean, we don't commit to guarding the borders. We don't commit to our veterans. We don't commit to doing what we say we're going to do in Social Security. It's just no commitment everywhere, anywhere.
I agree. The veterans ought to have their health care without any. They shouldn't have.
They should be given a card and being told to go where they have to go to get the care that they need.
Well, and you know, I think the old proverbial buck stops here. Well, in this case, the buck never stops.
It should stop at the White House.
But this situation has been going along for years.
Okay,
not as
should
bad.
Stop at the White House.
Prior to this administration, I might add.
Well, trust me, having been, when I joined the military in '67 and made $3.03 a day as a private, which wasn't exactly high wages back then either. You look and see how they've changed the retirement program, and right now, retirees that are on TRICARE when they turn 65 have to buy Medicare Part A and B to get prescription coverage. Now you go, really?
Let's look at this other major issue of the week, this matter of the disability totals that have come in. Is there no room for reform here? Would this administration be prepared to do anything to reform the system, cut waste and abuse?
The best thing we could do is to get people back to work making a fair living wage. And that's what you need to do.
And the way you do that, Kevin,
is cut taxes. Yeah.
Cut taxes, but the way you do that is two things. Keystone Pipeline. Get the privates, unleash the private sector in this country, and we'll get people back to work.
How many jobs is the Keystone Pipeline going to create in this area?
Look, if it's one job, I have constituents
it's going to be
trying
more
to get
than
one job.
but less than 100.
Okay, but if I'm trying to get constituents a job.
But he does bring up a point. The State Department has said, look, there are no realistic environmental concerns of a magnitude here.
Just a political.
Why is the administration?
My gripe about, I don't have a gripe about
Ask your union
it's
people
not the
about it.
pipeline.
Ask your union supporters about it.
I went to that meeting they had.
Ask them about it.
I did.
Those good paying middle class jobs,
you know what?
Godfrey.
But it's not that many, James.
What does it matter?
My gripe is not with the pipeline. My gripe is what's going on up in Canada, that god-awful mess they're making up there in the environment.
Yeah,
they've got a pool of dirty water 20 miles across.
Do you really think that the environmental concerns are legitimate, though?
Oh,
What's
yes.
the
The
holdup?
Obama secretary, your Obama administration, my Obama administration Secretary of State's office say there's no issues.
Yeah.
Well, not only that.
They have no control over what's going on in Canada.
One of
Canada's
the issues that you've got to look at the big picture. Canada's going to sell this, and here's the option: they're either going to put it on trains, which is less safe, but oh yeah, our good friend Warren Buffett, who has BNSF,
Right.
is really excited about that.
I just have a
but
minute.
it's not as safe
If
as
that
pipelines.
lake ever breaks loose up there, it's going to come all the way down the Athabasca River, all the way to Washington State, and you're going to have a bunch of people up in oil.
Southeast Texas has been doing oil
It's not
refinery
going to hurt us.
pipeline
No.
for
You
decades.
don't
That's the
understand
safest way
you
to
don't understand the
transport.
size of the problem. You really should read about it. I'm not talking about here and the pipeline. I'm talking about what's going on in Canada.
I
Okay?
just have 30 seconds. Who's going to win the 252nd District Judge runoff in Jefferson County?
Well, I hope it's
Stella Morrison, Raquel West.
Raquel West.
In the runoff.
I hope it's Raquel.
You predict it's going to be Raquel.
And I'm going to predict that Brian Babin, who I would vote for if I lived in that district, is going to win District 36 because he actually lives in the district and the guy running against him doesn't.
I
And
concur with that. I concur with that. Brian Babin's going to win. You know, could you believe that earlier this week that Mr. Strusan said that water is not a real big issue in East Texas?
Water's not a
It is a big
Ben
issue.
Strusan, his
Vote for
opponent in that race.
Kinky Friedman for Agriculture Commissioner.
Okay,
Well,
and
let's
with
have a
that,
change.
we run on and we'll
Sid
talk
Miller.
with Dr. Brian Babin about his race against Ben Strusan in the 36th Congressional District when Southeast Texas Weekly continues.